All right, everyone. Today's guest is somebody that I've looked up to personally forever. She is one of the most beautiful and kindest women that I've ever met. She's a model. She is a Sports Illustrated superstar, and she is now a career coach. And she's helping women of all shapes and backgrounds step into their purpose. Welcome, Miss Ella Halikas.
Woo! Hi,
I'm
Queen. Thank you
excited.
so much for that intro. Love it.
Well, I love you. And just a little background, guys. Ella has been coaching me for the past 4 months, I would say, in my influencing modeling career. And not only has she inspired me, but you have really expanded my mind to all the possibilities. And I'm just so happy to have met you and to have you in my life.
Thank you. No, that means a lot. You've been like an A plus star student, star client, and now a friend. And I'm just so glad that we got to work together and
I
continue
know.
working together.
I'm so excited, but let's get into it because I
Yes.
know we have a lot of really, really interesting stuff to talk about. So, I know you posted recently about you working in Starbucks, and it's hard to believe that somebody like you, who is now a powerhouse, you're doing ads for Pepsi and Abercrombie, and you worked at Starbucks. So let's go back to who Ella was when she was younger, kind of like what your dreams were, and how everything started.
Yeah. How far back do you want to go?
Let's go back to like little, because I know that I've been dreaming of doing this since I was like 6 years old, and I'm sure you feel the same way. So let's start from then.
Yeah, so growing up, I was always very confident, had all this energy, loved being in front of the camera. My older sister, who's about 7 years older than me, would get me like dressed up in these like fun little cute outfits and like would just, dress me up and take photos of me in the backyard. And like then we did like a little baby wedding, like little flower girl dress with like pearls, and I like laid out and sprawled on like my mom's like carpet, and like it was just iconic. And so I always kind of like from that moment, I was like so inspired, and I loved being from the camera. I loved turning it on with the camera. And that's when I kind of realized like this is something that I just like love doing. And I feel like baby Ella like thrived in that scenario. The older I got, it was more of like middle school where, everyone has those like tough years growing up, trying to find themselves. And I feel like that's where I was really struggling with that confidence and like, where do I fit in? And, the body changes like in high school when you get your period and like your body starts to change. And like, I didn't know how to, handle that. I didn't know, whether to love myself, whether to hate myself. Like I started to get other hate and, comments about, oh, Ella, like, you're getting thicker. And it's like, wait, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Like you just like your body starts changing. And I think that was really hard for me. So I didn't really know what my future looked like in terms of like that career. So it was more fast forward to after graduating high school. I was just so tired of being tired. I was tired of being insecure. I was tired of not loving myself and comparing myself to my friends. And, that's when I really stepped into like who I can be and like stepped into that power. And I was like, no, I'm gonna like own who I am. I'm gonna own my body. And I started taking photos and feeling very confident. And it like brought me back to like, my little kid shoots and how it all got started. And um, I started taking a ton of photos, and that's when it really picked up momentum. And people started to follow me, and they were really engaged with what I was posting, and people were loving it. And I was like, wow, like I could really do this. Which was really exciting to see. Then I got scouted online from an agent, and everything kind of fell, obviously not fell into place. I worked very hard for it, but that's kind of like the timeline of how it all happened. So it is crazy though that I did work at Starbucks, and that was in high school. Going into college, I was like, well, I need some money for college, and I'm gonna get a summer job. And I worked at Starbucks and I hustled and I saved some money, and then I went to college. And my parents were like, you need to work. Like, we're not just gonna give you money. And I'm like, oh shoot, okay. So I like worked at a restaurant and started saving money working at a restaurant in Waikiki Beach, which was like amazing. Tips were great. Met all like my close friends there. I learned so much about myself. I had a first relationship there. A lot really happened for me in
Ooh,
the
restaurant
development of
relationship.
schooling. Yeah,
That'll definitely make you grow.
and that will. And there's a lot of those. Like everyone at my restaurant dated. So it is crazy to see the progress from that photo for sure.
It's isn't it crazy because I feel like I too, when I was little, wanted to be a model, and as you get into that middle school phase, which is an awkward phase, like no one should be making life decisions
Right.
based on how you feel in middle school. But
Mhm.
then high school, and I remember getting picked on so much for my bust being a certain size or whatever it is, and that really, really killed my dreams into like my early 20s, and I didn't think I can do that. So it's crazy now, being older, I wish I could tell girls like that does not define who you are and you're going to get older and you should keep pursuing your dreams regardless of what anyone tells you.
Totally. Totally. And it's like you can't really listen to the outside world. You can't really listen, and I think about this a lot. Why would you take advice from someone that you wouldn't want to change their life with? Like, why am I listening to like, older relatives or grandparents who they don't understand this world. They don't understand modeling or social media. Like, why would I listen to that and think, you're right, this isn't for me? Why not listen internally and really take time to reflect of like, what do I want? What do I see myself doing? What gravitates, what pulls me? And then doing more of that. And I think the more that voice of inside me got louder, the more it canceled out the outside noise.
Yeah. No, that's such a good point, honestly. And I hadn't thought of that because I think a lot of the scrutiny does come from inside of our family. Just
Mhm.
our parents. I mean, I know when I quit my job recently, my parents were really supportive, but when I started throwing out the idea of quitting my job, they were like, no, you need to be a nurse. You need to, nothing wrong with being a nurse, right? But you need to go back to school.
Right.
You need to do something that's safe. And I think a lot of this mentality comes from like a survival mode.
Totally.
And I think if you want to be a superstar the way you are and land that Sports Illustrated shoot and do all those things, you need to stop thinking from a point of survival.
Hmm. Yeah, and thinking small and thinking safe, like nothing about what we do and what I do is safe. Nothing. Every day you don't know when your next paycheck is coming, ever. Like your lifestyle grows, right? You have more expenses, but you don't know when that next check is coming in. You don't know that next brand deal. So for people and parents, like especially traditional families and parents, it's like this is not safe. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel safe. I don't want my daughter doing this. Like it is hard to show support for that because you're like, where are they going with this? How long can this last? How long can modeling last? Like, there's all these questions and then all these fears that get put onto you. And then you're like, maybe this is crazy. Maybe I am not enough. Maybe this is a bad decision. And, and so forth.
I think what everyone's question is when did this mentality change? And then how did you start the whole Sports Illustrated process? Because that's when I first heard your name and saw you, and I was like, this girl is so beautiful. And it was so enlightening to see a lot of different representation on Sports Illustrated, like we had never really seen. Because, like I said, I was bullied back in the day too because of how I looked. And to see people like you and Kate Upton and all these girls who are not like the norm for Sports Illustrated on there, I was like, wait a second, I can do this. So, what expanded your mind? What made you feel like I can go for this? And then, how was the process, the beginning process of getting into Sports Illustrated?
The mindset shift was really when I just wanted to step into who I am and my power. And when I stepped into that and I started to see these opportunities come and I was kind of building this life for myself, I'm like, I can do this. Like, I 100% can do this. Like, I'm made for this. And it's scary. And it's, you start to get imposter syndrome. But when you're like, no, I'm meant to be here and a door wouldn't open for me if I wasn't meant to be in this room. And so I really believe in that. And when I stepped into that power, I felt like I deserved to be there. Like I was like, okay, this feels right. I know inside of me, like this is what I meant to do. It's kind of an unexplainable feeling, and you'll know when you know. But when you know that it's inside of you and you're meant to do something, you can't ignore it. And I think I urge people to tap into that feeling of like what lights them on fire and like what, brings them this much joy and excitement. I think that the process was super hard and, it is at the end of the day a competition and it's hard to, these girls become your lifelong friends or, best friends or whatever. And it's hard because it is a competition and not everyone can win and not everyone gets chosen and not everyone gets put into the magazine. So it is that part is tough. It's tough mentally. It's a challenge. Um, you second guess yourself, you second guess your worth, you compete. It's not always glamorous, and that's why people say modeling isn't a glamorous job.
Mhm.
But I think that the women around me were so uplifting and supportive, and I had such a great support system, and I felt so like loved and encouraged throughout all of it, that yes, it was hard, but it was also such a beautiful journey and created me into who I am today and totally molded who I am. So I'm really grateful for that.
My question, so you applied quite a few times, right? It wasn't just like a one and done, like you were persistent about it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
3 years. 3 years.
3 years. And that's something that I really want people to understand because I think a lot of people look at your life now and it's very easy to be like, well, it's easy for her. She's a model, she's an influencer, but it's like you don't know Ella when she was working at Starbucks and she didn't have a dime to her name and she was going out there submitting to Sports Illustrated 3 years in a row, which a lot of it could be embarrassing when you don't get picked the first time and then you go and submit again
Mhm.
because it's a very public submission, right? So tell us
Absolutely.
about that time and then how it felt to get that call from MJ, because I'm sure that was really exciting.
Yes. So when I first tried out, it was 2018, and I had actually just got let go from my serving job in Hawaii for being late. And if you know me, you know that I'm a late girly. It's really bad. I'm working on it. But I was late and I got let go, and I was like, I had this fire inside me. I was like, I want to pursue something greater. Like I want to be a Sports Illustrated model. I want to be a model. I want to move to LA. Like that's my dream. And it's crazy because I was a server living in Hawaii. I wasn't a model. I wasn't signed. I had no experience doing it. So that's the self-delusional like confidence that I preach about. I then tried out with, my friend filmed it on like a blurry camera and it was like really rough. And I ended up not getting it. Shocker. 2019 came around and I kind of elevated the filming crew. I hired someone to like film this video for me, this guy that worked at the restaurant that did videos and videography.
I'm sure he was
Filmed,
like, yeah, for sure.
yeah, he was like,
Ellen and
okay.
Bikini, let's do it.
But he filmed an amazing video. Like I look back and it's so great to see that. And then I didn't get it, but I remember being at the restaurant in Hawaii having breakfast with my friend, and I saw a notification pop up on my phone, and it was Sports Illustrated posted you. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I thought I got chosen. I was like, this is it. I got it. I got it. I'm screaming. I'm crying at the restaurant. They posted my video and they were like, yes, never give up no matter how many no's you get along the way, which is what I said in my video. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like I got it. It was the biggest freaking tease I've ever gotten in my life. Didn't get it. Then they opened a call, like an open casting in Miami to go down there and meet the team. I took my, had $1,000, maybe 500, $800 to my name. I took that entire money, bought a ticket, got a hotel, went to Miami, waited in line in the pouring rain. And it was like, pouring rain at 5 a.m. We started the line, met the team, sat down, had like 1 minute with the girl, one of the models. I forget her name. And it's kind of rough. They had like their phones up like this with a timer on. Like you have 1 minute to sell yourself. And then it's like next, next, next. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm sitting in there with the camera up with and I can't stop looking at the timer. And I'm like, hi. And I'm really nervous and I don't know what I'm doing. And I have no experience doing this. I'm like, hi, I'm Ella. Like, I'm so grateful to be in this position. And I'd love to, I love, that you guys are inclusive of all sizes and shapes. Mind you, this woman was so thin. So I doubt she had any kind of relation to what I was saying. And I just was like, I don't know if I got it. And then I left and I waited and waited for the email and I didn't get it. And I was so bummed after all of this, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to try again next year. Like I just already know. That was 2019. 2020 comes around, COVID hit, the whole world ends. We all think we're going to die. Like it was so scary. I leave my home. I was saving money working at a restaurant in the Bay Area after graduating college. I'm like, screw this. Was not having a great home family life, was just really going through it. And I was like, I need to get out of here. I packed up my little Honda, drove my car down here. Um, so crazy. I drove down here, didn't have a job lined up, nothing lined up. That year, they opened up another casting, and I was like, I'm going to do it. And then that year, within like a month of living down here, I got on a casting network and I got myself a J.C. Penney and a Snapchat commercial within the first 2 months of living here. And I was like, oh my God, like I can do this. Like I can do this. And I kept getting this confidence, like you can do this. I tried out for Sports Illustrated that year in 2020. I hired a better camera guy. I hired a makeup artist for the first time. I hired a hair, and I was like, we're gonna go all in. I had my friend bring her dad brought the Volkswagen van so I could film in the van down the PCH by the beach and just like make this whole iconic video. And that was the video that I got Sports Illustrated. So about 6 months later, I think it was 6 months we waited. I didn't know. We got an email that you made it to the next round. And I was like, oh my God, like screaming, crying. We get on the call and it's with MJ and 14 other girls. And she was like, hi, ladies, so excited to have you here. Before I get started, I just want to say congratulations. You're looking at the top 14 finalists of Sports Illustrated, like 2021. I'm like, we all start crying and everyone's freaking out. And so that's how it happened.
That is amazing. You know what's so crazy? I was there in 2019 for the open casting, but
Mhm.
I think my friend and I got in the line a little too late. It was already like 7, 8 a.m. And it was so hot. I mean, it went from raining to hot to like raining again. And
Mhm.
I felt just like you when they had the timer up, and I was just like, I'll do anything for this. I really
Right,
didn't know what to say, It's just like so nerve-wracking.
right,
But I
right.
think it's intense. And then also, like you said, it was like some like models interviewing us, and sometimes you can't relate to like the same struggles, right?
No.
But the thing is, you went out there with whatever little money you had and you made it happen. And that's a testament of your resilience. And that's amazing. I will say though, making that video and having all those people support you, like your friend's dad and all of that, like, how did that feel? Because I think I would have felt like, wow, people are supporting me, like they believe in me.
That's a good question. No one's asked me that. I think that when you believe so much in yourself, it's hard for others to not.
Yeah.
So when I really believed in myself and I really believed that I could do this, and this is my third year trying out, and this is my year, this is my time, people want to support that. People like that energy. People want to feel like, yes, like I'm going to be a part of this journey with her. I'm going to help her get this. I'm going to preach for her. And I think that was a really cool and exciting moment to see, like, I've been very blessed in my career. I've had so much rejection. I've had hate. I've suffered so many agencies dropping me. It's been really gruesome. Like I want to write a book one day. But with that said, on the other hand, I've had so many people rally around me wanting to help, whether that's hair and friends, whether like a hairstylist, a makeup artist, whether that's a stylist giving me a family friend's rate who doesn't even know me, but she's like, I believe in you and I want to work with you. Like, I'm going to give you my family friend discount. Like, I've had so many people just like want to help me. And I'm like, why? Like, this is so crazy. And I've talked about it with my family, and they're like, because they see that you believe in yourself and they see your hard work, and it makes others inspired and want to help you. And I'm like, that's so true. So it is cool to see people rally behind you, but you have to believe in yourself first.
Yeah, no, and that is very true. I mean, I feel the same way. I think once I started truly loving myself and believing that I deserved better is when everyone got on board with the same thing, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah, that is very true. And so give us a little bit of insight into your first 2 years after the Sports Illustrated thing happened. I'm sure that hit you like a bus, like you weren't expecting this to actually happen. And now you're a Sports Illustrated model, which is so many girls' dreams. But I'm sure that came with a lot of reality checks. So kind of walk us through like your first 2 years, what you learned, what tips you have.
It's hmm. It's really hard because you don't know what to expect. There's no playbook. There's no book telling you what to do or what not to do. There's no, I don't know, there was no coaching lesson on how to walk on a runway. We just walked out there. There was no explanation on how to pose or how to do this. And so I think it's scary throwing yourself out there into such new territory. And I think though the more you do it, the better you get at it and the more second nature it becomes. So at the beginning, I was a little bit, nervous and a little, okay, what am I doing? Second guessing kind of everything and getting in my head a lot. But the more you do it, the more you get comfortable. And that's with anything. If that's a business you want to start, if that's podcasting you want to start, or whatever it may be, if you're uncomfortable and nervous in the beginning, that's normal. Like you start to get more of a hang of it the more you do it. I think what's hard for me is being in a setting like Sports Illustrated, surrounded by so many beautiful and successful people who are also married and partners with very successful people, whether they're in the NFL or golf or basketball or, pro this, pro that. That was really hard for me because I'm like, I'm just by myself. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have a partner. I don't come from money. I don't have family money. I
Mhm.
don't have a rich husband. And that's okay if you do. More power to you. Seriously. It was just a very big, oh, this is different. So it was almost like a mirror that was brought in front of me of like my life and who I am and how I was raised and grown up. And the privilege that I have is so different than everyone else around me in this room. And I think that was kind of like an interesting perspective of like, oh, wow, like now we're all playing on the same playing field when we are not the same. I do not come from the same cloth. I do not have those same opportunities that other women and people have, which is okay. I'm not a victim and I will get there one day. But it was like a wow moment because you're surrounded by like the top of the top people, you
Yeah.
know?
No, that would definitely be really eye-opening. And I mean, I feel like I've been to a lot of castings where there's more seasoned models or, people who are plugged up, and I feel like, how am I going to go against them, right? So I completely understand that. And in terms of being a curve model, is there anything that you feel like was eye-opening? Because I feel like you've opened the doors for a lot of curve models. And so I'm sure when you started that there was things that you were probably like, wait a second, is this real life? Like, is somebody really talking to me like this? So
Mhm.
anything you want to share in that regard?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely struggles, and there still is of always being compared to other models or that you're not a real model or, you're the diverse hire. I just got that comment this morning for Abercrombie. Like, there's just always those comments. you
Wow.
know, I think it's hard to constantly get that outside opinion, but it's like, again, if you believe in yourself and you know that you're meant for this, it doesn't really matter what haters say. But it's tough. Like, there will be photographers that don't notice you. I'll be at Fashion Week head to toe styled with hair and makeup, and they don't take your photo because they don't think you're anyone, because there's no way you could be anyone if you're curvy and have a bigger body. So they immediately just go to the thin person next to you and start taking their photo. So I've experienced a lot of that. I've experienced a lot of weird and hurtful comments from photographers of like, suck in, or, that's not flattering, that pose. It's like, what do you mean flattering? Like, so there are some times where you're constantly having a battle, walking onto set and people are like, are you hair and makeup? Oh, are you the makeup artist? And I'm like, no, no, like I'm one of the models. And they're like, what? Like they're so confused. Or at Swim Week 2 years ago, I went backstage and the security like almost literally tackled me because they're like, "What are you doing back here?" And I was like, "I'm one of the models." Like, and I literally had a robe. And he was like, "No, no, 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 you're not. Like, you have to go to the GA, like the front." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, I'm literally in hair and makeup right now. Like that, I'm in the show." And he had to call a supervisor. They had to come and approve if I was in the show. And that's like humiliating. And I think there's things that we as curvy women or plus size have to deal with that when, the average thinner model doesn't have to deal with that.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, that breaks my heart that you've had to go through any of that stuff. You are stronger than me because I probably would have fought him, but that's a story for another time. I
Thank you.
definitely I'm curvy as well, and although I'm not in the modeling industry just yet, I've done a lot of castings and stuff, and I understand that, and I feel like it could be discouraging for a lot of women. So is there something that you feel like maybe some tips or advice that you have for any girls that are in the curve are trying to break into the curve modeling industry to just keep their energy and their spirits up and not let anything like this affect them?
I would say just keep working on your confidence, keep working on that self-love, work on that confidence, surround yourself with those that make you feel good. Work on your craft, get better in front of the camera, prove them wrong. There's times where a photographer will not think I'm a model just by looking at me. And the second they have the camera like anywhere towards my way and I get in my zone and I start posing, they're like, oh shit, okay, okay. And then they'll start taking my photo. I'm like, interesting. You didn't want to take my photo before, but now that you actually see I can pose and I'm a really good model, now you want to take my photo. So I would say just prove them wrong. And it sucks that we have to always prove ourselves and we have to go the extra mile being curvy and plus size. But in this industry, in this time right now, that's what you have to do. And I think once I realized that and said, okay, it sucks. We're gonna have to talk about my body a long time. We're gonna have to talk about how to be confident. We're gonna have to talk about this for a long time. Once I kind of accepted that, I'm like, okay, game on. Like, let's go. And, bring the people up with you and watch other people do it and have mentors and have role models. Like I have Ashley Graham and I look up to her and how she does it all. And then I get inspiration from her or from other, other plus size women and seeing them bridge, the gap and really pave that way for us. I'm able to do it for the next generation of models too. So I think just, have hope, stay resilient, believe in yourself even when it's hard, work on your confidence day in and day out because it's very hard to constantly get rejection and constantly get told you're not enough. But I think once you know again who you are and what you bring to the table, it doesn't matter if Paul and Sam say you're not good enough or you're not a model. And so continuously like show up for yourself for sure.
It pays to have somebody like Ashley Graham rooting for you because she is amazing and she's the nicest person. I met her one time and I was like in total shock and I wanted to cry. And she was just like, yeah, I can tell you're shocked.
Yeah.
Give me a hug and she was just the sweetest ever. So I'm sure you're really, really happy that she's, rooting for you. She's amazing. And just a side note, Ella, I shot with this photographer one time who said, basically, it was an honor to have worked with you. He was like, I can't believe somebody like her even wanted to work with me. And he shoots a lot of models. So
Really?
that's saying a lot. It
Wait,
was
what'd you say?
Ryan.
Said about me?
Yeah. He
Aw.
was like, I can't believe she even wanted to work with me, or something along the lines. And so, I mean, that just goes to show that people,
Aw.
we know you're a baddie and we see it. And
I'm
yeah.
dead.
Um,
Love that
so
so much.
yes, yes, yes. So we're gonna kind of shift gears a little bit. Still on the same topic, but I want to talk more about your coaching career now, and that's how I met you. You've been coaching me, and just also hearing you talk about all of the obstacles that you've had to, go through and everything just makes it a lot more credible for you to be a coach. And I honestly I'm so happy that I've worked with you because you've expanded my mind to so much and just to know that somebody else persevered and they believed in themselves enough to make something of themselves and inspire so many people is just enough for me. So I kind of want to shift gears and talk about that a little bit. Tell us about your coaching career. What inspired you to take that path and how's it going and how's it working? Tell us everything.
Yes. So I started having this dream a while ago, honestly, a few years now, maybe longer. I've always wanted to build a community of women where I'm helping them, whether it's with confidence, whether it's with social media, whether it's with modeling, whether it's, with posing. I've just always wanted to help other women feel good about themselves, build them up, connect them with other women. So it kind of fell into my lap where I was, I had some extra time. I was figuring out my stuff with management and my own work in the beginning of the year. And I had, it was a little bit slower for me where I was like, I have this time where let me just focus on this. Like, I just want to get it off the ground. So I finally went ahead and kind of secretly launched it. I haven't publicly launched it yet, but secretly launched it to like my day ones, my like true, supporters, an email list that I had. And I was able within that first month to get 14 clients just by like pushing it out there. And that was really exciting. And so I was working one-on-one with a lot of clients. And the more I started to do it, the more you learn, like any business. And the more I was helping around confidence and self-love, it's one of those things that I love doing interviews about it. I love helping women just like day to day like this. But when I actually coach people on confidence, I found it to be actually more challenging than it was for me to coach them on social media brand building and like building their brand, growing an audience, and connecting with an audience. And I almost found more joy in helping them with more of that strategy because I love creative. Like, if I could be a creative director for a brand, I would. Like, I love creative thinking. I love creative, videos, and I'm always creative directing for these brand partnerships that I have. And that's where I thrive is in creative. So I love to help other women on this journey on becoming an influencer or a content creator and like building their brand while also helping them with confidence and self-love and like how to believe in yourself. And I'll always be that person. So I started doing that. And now, the business is ever changing. I want to work more into like a group setting too, which we can chat more about off air.
Yeah.
Um, in like a group setting and really build that out and also not only help, just clients and other women, but also help brands. Like I'd love to work on creative strategy and content building, with brands on how to build an audience, how to do a brand trip, like all those things. So it's definitely still in the process and I'm still working a lot of things out internally with my team, but it's been amazing and I can't wait for my website to be done so I can like fully launch it to the world and just, go full force into it all. But it is exciting, but it's also exciting because my influencing career and modeling career is also doing really well right now. And, you have the give and take. Like if I want my coaching to grow, then I might not be working as much as an influencer and vice versa. So it's like, it's kind of hard to balance these two businesses or three really with modeling because right now influencing and modeling is doing really well and I'm really busy and I have like 6 partnerships right now and I'm hustling. But with that said, I have this coaching business that I'm so passionate about too, and I love to help other women. So it's really about finding that flow, I think, for me right now is where I'm at.
Yeah, and we are so excited to have you coaching us. Honestly, you guys, I sat with Ella and I gave her one thing that I wanted to make one video about, and this woman found like 20 different ideas that we could do out of one thing. And I was like, wait a second, like I need to start opening up the way I think and start being more
Uh-huh.
creative. And I think, that's why I've been able to post so much more because I've been able to sit with you and consult and you've audited my social media and you've told me how to reach out to brands and they're actually responding to me now and it just has empowered me so much. I really felt so lost before I met you in this career change. I quit my job to become an influencer and a model, and if I didn't have you and all of your input, I don't think I would be able to be where I'm at right now. So I really want to thank you for that. And I really want to encourage any other girl who wants to work with Ella to do that. Obviously, once you publicly launch your coaching career. But
Mhm.
I think it's a pleasure working with you, Ella, and I'm so excited that you decided to head in that direction because we really need you.
Yes, thank you, Queen. That was like the best testimonial I've ever heard. I'm like, how do we like bottle that up and like take that with me everywhere? That was like the greatest. So
I've been
thank you for
practicing it
that.
every single day in the shower.
You're a queen. You're literally a queen. I
No, but so are you. And thank you so much for coming and doing this for me. As you know, it's my first interview, podcast interview, and who better to have than you? So tell us where we can find you. Give us all your socials, Instagram, everything.
I love it. Yes, thank you for having me. It was an honor speaking with you and everyone here today that's listening. And you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Ella Halikas. And you'll be seeing more of me soon. All the fun updates. Stay tuned for all the coaching updates and all the things I have coming out soon.
Awesome. And one last thing, every time we meet, Ella asks me what is something that I'm thankful for today. So Ella, what is something
Yeah,
you are thankful for today?
I love that. That's so sweet. What am I grateful for today? I am grateful for one, this conversation and chatting with you. I am grateful for being seen and celebrated in this industry and feeling like my hard work is really paying off right now. I am very grateful for being a face in the Abercrombie denim campaign, especially at a time where I
Gorgeous.
was low. Thank you. Where I was so low and hurting so badly with the passing of my brother. It just came at such a great time to be able to like own my power. And I know I would make him so proud. So, really grateful for that and that strength to get me through that shoe. So many things, but I'll end with that.
Yeah, and even through everything that you're going through, you still find the time to help others, which is amazing. And so we love you for that. But all right, Ella, until next time, bye.
Until next